I want to share a story with you. But this is not a fairy tale. It's better than that. It's true. And it too has a beautiful ending. My parents, they immigrated here from India, and my brother Dominic and I were born here, and they came with my mum's entire family. So I wasn't raised by two, but many. I grew up in a very religious family. So, we went to church every Sunday, and my dad used to be an ex-priest. There was no talk of boys, let alone girls. When my brother came out, I thought, oh my God, what are mum and dad gonna say?
It wasn't easy for me, I tell you, because when I first heard it, it was very difficult.
And I honestly think for them, they were like, oh my God, this is not okay based on what they were told in the church. And this is not okay based on what was okay within their family and the cultural context.
To be honest, we didn't expect it. But because he's our son, we love him, and that's unconditional love. You love your child no matter what.
My coming out journey was very different to my brother's because he had already paved the way for me. But when you're talking to a 68-year-old ex-priest and, a 50-something-year-old woman who are just getting their heads around what it is to be gay, and you say, I like both, they're like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, why now? Why did you wait so long? And is this a phase that you're going through? And
it was a shock because she had a boyfriend. She had boyfriends. So, to think, from boys, she's gone to going to a girl, both or whatever.
And the irony is, my dad was the one who just looked at me and said, Maria, it's okay, you don't have to make it a big deal. That's cool. And I was like, hello, did you hear me?
My children are my children, doesn't matter what their beliefs are, what their sexuality is.
So there have been months of open conversations where I've said, Mum, if you don't get something, let's just talk about it. And so there she was with the first question. It was, so have you had experiences, Maria? And I'm like, I don't really want to give you a play-by-play, but okay. We had to have conversations like that. And it's funny and it's awkward and it's clumsy, but what is really beautiful is that my parents are open and they're trying.
Along the way, I have learned such a lot, and I've seen that now Marie and Dominic are educating me, so I'm not frightened anymore.
I certainly have changed. I'm not the Tony that I was. My thinking, my beliefs, my support for my kids, support for that community, to understand. So I'm hardly the Tony that I was. I was conservative, I was an ex-priest, I had my beliefs. Now, having said that, have I lost my faith? Have I changed my beliefs? No. But I've learned to stay in my faith and still put that into practice in loving my kids.
So their views have started to evolve. To me is really beautiful, is watching them become our biggest champions in the circles that they're in.
Living their life, being loud and proud. That advice to them is the same advice to me. So, as you say, there is no place for me to hide in the closet and say, hey, they're there. No, I will stand on the same stage and say, I am proud.
I'm so proud of you guys.
And thank you for teaching us to understand. We come from such conservative backgrounds.
No.
And we didn't know anything, but because you came out, Dominic came out, we're learning now. And
they're amazing, and growing up their own way has meant that not only are they their kids' biggest champions, but they're living their most authentic, their most self-expressed, their most happy, joyous versions of themselves. You don't get that by being closed-minded. Being comfortable in your skin is realizing that all of these things, racism, the homophobia, do not matter. Being comfortable in your own skin is saying, actually, I'm going to go out my own way and I'm going to live life on my terms. I'm okay as I am. And I think that's really important because that attitude saves lives. I would never have imagined when we were growing up, like listening to you say some of the things you were saying. And I think of like how many kids who look up to you guys, and like if they don't have that in their own parents, they'll see that in you. I think
Tell
it's
them
just...
Daddy Tony is available.
Don't call yourself daddy. Ew.
You know?
Parents can change. And they can learn and they can grow, and it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what ethnic background you are. Love doesn't have limits or conditions. And I think that's really cool.